All right, guys, welcome back to part two. I'm so excited. We are going to dive deep and expand on all of those subjects we covered in the first video of this playlist. So, okay, now is the time to get a pen and paper, your journal, a notebook to write in, maybe to take some notes. We're going to go over spiritual hygiene basics. So, this is the only thing we're going to cover in this video. In part two, I decided to break up the other ones into their own video because I have so much to say about each individual thing, because then I can branch off and do little smaller videos on the major themes moving forward. And yeah, so go ahead and pause this really quick, grab what you need to grab, get some water, get settled. If you've got some sage or some incense, go ahead and burn that as well. Just get the vibes going. Just, I like to just smell incense. I love the way it smells. So I'll burn that in my space. All right, so first thing we're going to talk about is how to clear your energy and why it's important. So, like I covered in the first video, in order to clear your energy, it's important to invoke the source energy, the center of the universe, that primary life force energy, back into your energy, right? So let me just start here. You know, when your garbage can is full in the kitchen and sometimes like overflowing because you live with that one family member who is just like a slob and it drives you crazy. And it's like they have zero sense of like self-love, self-care. And so they just let things just fall away and just anyways. um so imagine that overflowing trash can in the kitchen, right? The overflowing garbage in the trash can is where a lot of people are existing at energetically. I'm so sorry. Like, I'm not trying to like say everyone's like a garbage can or their energy is. This is like the only metaphor that came to mind that makes sense. And so take it or leave it. If you internalize that, that's a you problem. So, anyways, I used to be the overflowing garbage can, so that's why I can speak on that. And so, anyway, all of that trash buildup is the same thing as energetic buildup, old energetic buildup in your energy system. So your energy system would be like the base of the trash can, right? And then all of the garbage inside of the bag is that old energy that needs to be taken out, right? And sent to the dump or the trash or wherever it goes, right? Same thing. You need to clear out your energy system of old energies, send it back to source for healing, and call back your natural frequency, healing energies, and pure unconditional love. Okay. That is going to help you rapidly shift your life and your reality. All right. So bear with me. I know it's a lot to take in. So you might have to come back and watch these a couple of times. Um, and so yeah, I'm going to teach you how I did that, how I still do it, and teach you how to develop your own techniques to do energy healing on yourself so that you can stay cleared out. You can stay in your highest alignment from day to day, which is a really hard place to get to, starting from like, I don't want to say day one, but when you're first starting out, you're first questioning your life, you're first questioning everything, you're questioning your belief systems, you're questioning the behaviors that you were taught in childhood, you're questioning just all of it, right? You're questioning your higher education you received in college, And so anyway, so yeah, it's really important to clear out that old energetic garbage, because when you remove old energy, guess what? It frees up space. Okay. You now have space, free open space to welcome in your innate birthrights of wealth, innate birthrights of abundance, innate birthright of prosperity, innate birthright of opportunities, right? Like, you're starting to get closer and closer and closer to your authentic self, your soul, right? The whole entire intention, that my highest intention for this channel is to help you guys shed all of the layers that aren't yours, shed all the layers that you think are yours but are not yours, deprogram all of that low vibey, icky stuff out of your energy, out of your belief systems, deconditioning, unlearning, right? This is all going to allow massive change. Okay. And with massive change comes intermittent periods of rest, extra rest, having a set bedtime every day. I really struggle with this still, having a consistent sleep routine. I think it's part of being a Sagittarius. Like we really have a hard time with routine and sleep schedules in general. And so anyway, I'm still working on that. That's part of my inner work. But the reason why I have such a hard time going to bed at a decent time is because I just want to spend my entire waking moments just doing what I love to do, what I'm so passionate about. And so I've now gotten to a point in my life where I'm like, I don't want to go to sleep. I don't like, I want to just do this all the time, like every single day for the rest of my life, for the rest of my incarnation kind of energy. But it's important. It's just as productive to rest as it is to do, right? So there has to be a healthy balance of that feminine and masculine energy within you. So, anyways, so yeah, clearing your energy is so important because it's going to allow you to call back in your natural frequency, your highest self realities, right? Like, think about it this way. If you could see, I mean, you can see this. Let's see if this is like the best example to use. Okay, this is how I'm going to talk about this. If you could see what your life looked like 5 years, even 10 years from now, with the filters of you doing the inner work consistently, you consciously choosing to raise your vibration, you consciously choosing to expand your consciousness, okay? You putting yourself in unfamiliar environments that are going to help you grow and evolve as a soul. If you could see what your life looked like 5 to 10 years from now with doing that inner work, and you saw yourself riding a yacht in beautiful blue water, you don't even know where you were because it was so gorgeous. You had fresh organic foods on the table. You could just jump off and go swimming and not have to worry about like sharks, not being able to see into the water, the vibes feel so calming. Your nervous system is so relaxed. You're with an amazing, incredible partner who just unconditionally loves you for all aspects of you. They love you for your good, your bad, and your ugly, and you vice versa. You're living your dream job, your dream career, whatever that looks like for you. Okay, it's all different for us. And imagine looking into that window and feeling what that feels like. You feel free. You feel like you don't give a fuck about anybody and anything, like in a high vibrational way, like in the sense of like, you don't have the people pleasing programmings anymore or conditionings or old belief systems, and you just are unconditionally, unapologetically yourself for who you are with pure intentions, and you live from a heart-centered space. Imagine what that feels like. Imagine not having to worry about money anymore because you learned the ins and outs of money and wealth consciousness. You expanded it. You let go of your ancestral chains and baggage around what your ancestors had to go through, and they struggled with poverty and lack and limiting beliefs and not believing in themselves, having fears of having fun. Okay, just imagine not feeling the lack and the limiting. And I know that's so hard to do because, if you haven't physically experienced that and all you're familiar is trauma, chaos, dysfunction, low vibe relationships, toxic work environments with a really shitty boss. Like I get it. It's really hard to empathize with a higher vibrational experience, but we all have experienced, no matter how much trauma you've been through, we all have at least one high vibrational experience that we can remember that we went through in our life. And I know how good that fucking felt. When I was going through my awakening back in 2020 and I had a crazy out-of-body experience. I'll get into that maybe in this video, but anyways, I was going through my awakening. I was just I was just descending. Like I really just I hit rock bottom in my life, and um I was in a really low vibrational toxic relationship, and from the inside it didn't feel toxic. It didn't feel low vibrational because it was my familiar, my nervous system, my programmings, my energy, my root chakra, everything that I came into this lifetime with from past lifetimes and what I grew up in experiencing in childhood, what I absorbed in childhood, okay, that became my familiar, that became all that I knew that there was. And so when that happens, you enter into your karmic relationships, which is what they're called. I call them the karmics because they are your mirror reflection to show you the inner work that needs to be done within you, right? One thing my mom said the other day was she was having some conversation with this guy who works with like quantum healing technology. And anyway, she said to him on the phone, she said, you know, our external reality doesn't exist. Like it's literally a projection from our internal reality, which is so deep. Don't even get me started on that rabbit hole. Like that's like a whole other video topic. I think I'm gonna write that down and go deeper into that. And I know it's gonna like trigger a lot of your veils that are over your streams of consciousness right now. It's gonna trigger a lot of things in your energy where you're like, what? Like, how does that make sense? Like, how does that work? You know? So yeah, let's talk about video on internal reality, projecting external reality. But I feel like that video is really important and life-changing and very transformative, because when you really wrap your head around that, you will understand that everything that we are experiencing outside of us is just a collective internal projection of everybody that's incarnated here right now in this present moment. Boom, right? And so anyways, yeah, I'm gonna do a video on that, but so yeah, just to sum that up, please, please, please develop your own spiritual practice where you are clearing consciously your energy every single day. I like to clear my energy twice a day because I'm just super ambitious. I'm just like a go-getter. Like I have so much drive and so much desire and motivation, like just naturally in my energy. And so, yeah, I'm super crazy with it, but you don't have to be, just as long as you're doing it, you know, consciously, intentionally, and you really set up a routine for yourself, right? It's just as important as developing a physical routine, right? Like to maintain your physical health, or developing a routine with your emotions, like your emotional health, your mental health, right? I know a lot of us are not used to that, and a lot of us are not used to seeing what it looks like to have an emotional or a mental routine in our lives. But now we live in new times, a new era, a new age, new energies, higher energies. Okay, this stuff is important to maintain. Okay, so I'm trying to think of, is there anything else? Oh yeah, last thing I want to say about why it's important to clear your energy is because the more space you make within your energy, the more you have the capacity and the abilities to receive. All right. And a lot of us, especially women who grew up in households with a lack of a healthy masculine figure. Okay, so we grew up with feminine dads, dads who wanted to be women, all right, and just receive, and they wanted to engage in relationships that reminded them of their familiar, their mothers, right? So what do? Men in their feminine energy go and look out, they seek out their familiar, which is a relationship with their mom subconsciously. It's super crazy, super deep, very disturbing. I really love psychology, like I'm super good at it. And I love to understand why people do the things that they do and how to incorporate that physically and non-physically and mix that together to where everybody can understand it at some perspective. And so anyway, so my dad's nervous system programmings, his conditionings, his life experience, his childhood traumas, because he grew up with a dusty dad, right? Like it's just this generational trauma that's not normal. It's highly dysfunctional, highly toxic. Um, it's just not good. It's not healthy. It's not good. All right. Um, forgot where I was going with this. Anyway, that's how you get the mama's boys. That's how they are born, right? They grow up with mothers who are relying on their sons to fulfill their emotional needs because their emotional needs are not being met in their relationship. Because more than likely, they grew up with emotionally disconnected parents and they never developed a relationship with their emotions. And so, because they were disconnected, because my grandparents were disconnected from their heart and shut off emotionally. They shut down. They were repelling their authentic relationships their entire lives. And so they never experienced what it was like to have a real, authentic, genuine relationship with anybody, friends, familial, intimate wise, right? Like, this is why this is so important. And a lot of us generationally take on I don't want to make this blanket statement, but I feel like it needs to be said. A lot of us take on this responsibility of healing the wounded feminine energy within our bloodlines. And it's not just feminine energy, like both the feminine and masculine energies need healing. However, I do believe that a lot of the women who incarnated in specific family dynamics and specific bloodlines contracted to heal deeply wounded feminine energy. And men who contracted to incarnate in certain bloodlines contracted to heal the masculine. And so when the feminine and the masculine come together as a whole, they healthily polarize. Okay, there is a balance, there is harmony in the energies. Okay, and we're gonna get into like a whole, I feel called to make a relationship video. Yeah, I want to talk about like what it was like growing up with no role model of what a healthy relationship was in general, just intimately, friendship wise, familial wise, right? Like, I want to talk about that actually. Relationship video, family, friends, partners. This is the last thing I'm going to say on this before I move on to the second thing, because it's all flowing together nicely. So anyways, let me check the time. All right. Awesome. I didn't start my timer, so that's okay. We're just gonna wing it, guys. Okay, relationships. What do I want to say on this? Oh my God, it totally left me. Let's see, familial, friends, partners. But it was like, I don't know. Oh, that's what it was. Okay. Hear me out, guys. A lot of the baby boomers and it's hard to say. I don't want to generalize the different generations, but especially the baby boomers, that entire generation was so severely wounded. Okay. And it's not just that generation. Obviously, the generations that came before them were also severely wounded. And, I'm going to say what needs to be said. All right. Which is relationships come with responsibility. They come with accountability. They come with understanding. They come with freedom. They come with, a sense of self, right? Like two whole individuals who have a sense of self, who are tapped into their authenticity truly. And, they've done the majority of their inner work and they come together and they polarize naturally. That is just what happens in our universe. It's part of the binary polarizing experience here. And so anyway, a lot of us just jump into relationships without being financially stable, without being financially secure, without knowing who the fuck we are, without knowing what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. And I say that as in regards to taking accountability for when we're wrong, right? When we're projecting at the other person instead of like always believing that you're right and you're never wrong, you know what I mean? Like that kind of energy. It's about when you get into a disagreement and not necessarily a physically abusive argument, you know what I mean? But just like a simple disagreement of like, Um, that's interesting that you see that way, but I don't have to believe that. I don't believe in that or whatever kind of thing. And then, say for example, because you're so honest and so truthful, that sparks an argument or whatever, or a disagreement. Okay. How do you navigate that emotionally, mentally, spiritually, verbally, without being intentionally abusive, without projecting, right? Which is hard. um, how do you learn to listen? How do you learn to understand, right? And there's just a lot of responsibility that comes with being in a relationship in general, you know what I mean? And so I feel like our society has just winged it for so long, and it's like, it's time to stop that. It's time to cut that shit out because it's not serving us. Clearly, look at our planet, like it's a mess. Like what a mess, right? I'm pretty sure we can all agree on that. And so, yeah, it's really about healing your relationship with yourself first, okay? And this is why I discussed what source energy is in the very beginning of this playlist, because we are all an emanation of source energy. We're all a secondary life force emanation of that primary life force energy. Does that mean that we're all just source experiencing itself on just different journeys and gathering different life experience and different perspectives, and then learning to come together to share those perspectives and our life experiences, being vulnerable, being authentic, right? Listening to understand and, possibly even potentially relate without the shame, without the guilt, without the fear, without the projections of anger and division and um just that separation energy. Like, I really truly, I'm just gonna plant some seeds here. One day, I truly wish to see this earth and its inhabitants to see each other for who they are energetically instead of the way they're physically presented. Okay. So imagine, instead of looking at a cat and going, oh, kitty cat, you know what I mean? No, look at the cat and feel its energy. I see you, right? Like that Avatar movie. Oh, love that movie so much. Um, and how they say, like, I see you for who you are. You can easily look at a lot of cats and see that they have pure intentions. They're funny, they're naive, they're playful, right? Like it's like an inner child kind of energy. Like you were there at one point in your life, And so yeah, just imagine that. Imagine, one day when, our human species starts intermingling with other consciousness species, like the Andromedans or the Pleiadians or just other species who are also conscious, who are also at higher vibrational frequencies. Like imagine that. Imagine being like, I see you for who you are, and feeling their pure intentions, feeling their love. Like, what a place to be. Like that's pretty deep, just saying. Um, and I feel like a lot of you, I don't know if a lot of you have experiences seeing UFOs or hearing about or seeing the other species that are out there that exist. Okay. One thing I studied in university, so I studied chemistry and biology. And one of the things I thought about in biology was in this biodiversity class I took, I studied how there were just like millions of species on this planet. Okay. And I thought to myself in university, like way before my awakening, right? I was like, there are a lot of conscious species. Like there's a lot of different species out there, and even species that we haven't even collectively discovered yet that are existing on the planet right now. Like I feel like a lot of us get into this comfort zone where we think we know everything, but we really don't, and that's ego. Like that's just our ego trying to keep us safe, like in our bodies, to prevent us from leaving the incarnation, right? Which is why this information, super high information, can trigger the ego. The ego's like, I can't take it, And so anyway, where was I going with this? Oh yeah. So my advice to you, my guidance teachings for you is keep an open mind and consciously, if you were taught in childhood to hate somebody because of the way they looked, the way their nose is shaped, the skin color they're embodying, their accent, their um their culture, whatever it is, whatever you are conditioned and programmed to hate in one another. Okay, I want to challenge you. I invite you to challenge yourself to whatever it was that you were brainwashed with, whatever it was that you were programmed with, to start consciously being in those environments, right? So, for example, if you were brainwashed in childhood to, I don't know, hate Mexican people or Chinese people or whatever it is, right? And you come across a Mexican person in the grocery store or a Chinese person in a Chinese restaurant, I want you to practice. I invite you to start practicing going, okay, you know what? You see them and it triggers that programming, it triggers that childhood trauma, right? Of your parents like brainwashing you and screaming at you for, oh my God, don't like Chinese people, blah, 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 like, kind of crazy shit. Let that show up, right? Feel the anxiety from the programming, feel the fear that might come up, ah, oh my God, I'm gonna get like hit or abused if I do like them. You know what I mean? Like the irrational fears that come from that kind of programming. And so anyway, I invite you to go, I see you. I see you. And I invite you to say something nice to them. Say something to them that you would want to say to yourself. Okay. Because, right, at the end of the day, we're all emanations of source energy. So imagine seeing that person as just another you, which is deep, and being like, huh, you're really just another emanation of myself. And how would I want to treat myself? I want to treat myself with respect, with unconditional love, with kindness, um, all the good things, right? Now, this is not to encourage you to be treated like a doormat by any means, because there are people out there who will test you with that. So, um, anyways, we'll make a video on that too, about the wounded theme of consciousness of violation and boundaries and what that teaches us, on a spiritual level. So, okay, moving on. So we're going to talk about this second point, and then in my next video, I'm going to teach you guys how I started channeling, how I taught myself to channel, and how to ground your energy, why it's important, and setting the intention daily to sit in your heart consciousness and the different energies that you can choose to sit in, okay? And we're going to talk about receiving. We're going to talk about why it's hard for you to receive, why there's so much resistance in receiving, okay? Which has a lot to do with the wounded feminine, all right? So, all right, moving on. Winter wants attention right now. Sorry, guys. Look at her. Here's my baby. Here's my doggy dog. Here's my doggy dog. Oh my goodness. Come on. Okay. I love you so much. All right. Step number 2 with spiritual hygiene basics. I know that was like a lot to talk about, but super necessary. Okay. Balancing your feminine and masculine energies within as well as your chakras. So, part of my spiritual hygiene, I balance my feminine and masculine energies as well as my chakras. I basically focus on the main 7 and its auxiliary chakras. Like there's the root chakra and has smaller chakras around it that are affiliated with the root, and so on and so forth, with the other chakras. And so anyway, the way I balance my feminine and masculine energy is I set the intention to work with source, and I got exposed to craniosacral therapy, and the massage therapist putting their hands on your ankles, underneath your spine, the top of your head, okay? I called it light liquid therapy because your soul actually attaches, like behind you, like behind your spine, basically. And we also have our past lifeline that runs off the back end of our heart chakra, and our ancestral line runs off the back of our root chakra. And so anyway, I'll do craniosacral, like light liquid therapy is what I like to call it. And I'll set the intention to balance both my feminine and masculine energies within my feet, within my ankles. I'll come behind and do it on my lower back, where my spine is. And then I'll come and bring my hands up here as well. Sometimes I'll feel called to put both of my hands on the back of my head, my lower head where the occipitals are. And so that's how I do that. As for the energy healing with healing the wounded feminine and healing the wounded masculine energies within us, I already wrote down that I'm gonna have to make a separate video on that because there's a lot that comes with doing that and how I did it, but I did it very thoroughly, and so that is why I now confidently sit in my feminine energy. That is why I feel safe to receive. I love receiving. I feel deserving and worthy of receiving. I have organically learned my self-worth and what I deserve and how I deserve to be treated. I learned how to stick up for myself when a narcissist tries to come at me crazy with their trauma, right? A soul who refuses to take accountability, refuses to take responsibility for their traumas and their shame and their guilt, and they want to take out their anger onto you. Well, no, I don't tolerate that. So that is what it's like to comfortably be in your feminine, right? You're not people pleasing. You're not walking on eggshells around other people's feelings when your feelings weren't even considered in the first place, right? And also, you're not out here creating, living your life going, oh, I wonder what people are going to think about me. And I don't want to ruffle any feathers. And I don't want to say this because it might hurt someone's feelings. And I don't want to hurt people's feelings. And I just want to make sure everybody's okay and everyone's in harmony. And you know what I mean? And it's like, that's not our responsibility. That was a dysfunctional programming that we were indoctrinated with to worry about everybody else but us. That's not self-love. That's not unconditional self-love. That's people pleasing. That's a low vibrational expression of energy, okay? I am not responsible for other people's baggage, other people's emotions that get triggered because that's their wounds. That's their soul wounds that they need to face, confront, and deal with, right? Same with me. It's not someone else's responsibility to walk on eggshells around me if I get triggered by something, right? Like, for example, I don't know, this is coming up. I had a really intense past lifetime in the Holocaust. Like my soul went through that and as like a physical incarnation. And anyway, say for example, I strike up a conversation and all of a sudden we start talking about that or whatever. And I still have wounds or energetic residue or past life energies blocked in my chakras or something. I have something stuck in my energy and from that past lifetime, right? And because it's still in my energy, it feels real. Okay, what is real, right? Like, so deep. I'm gonna blow y'all's minds. But yeah, say for example, they're talking about something and it triggers this insane amount of fear in me. Like, I feel like I'm getting ready to die. Like, I'm getting ready to exit this physical incarnation. I'm about to leave. Like, that's how deep and intense it feels, right? It's not their responsibility to be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. What? I'm not going to talk about it anymore, or, whatever it is, right? It's my responsibility to be like, whoa, like, okay, I felt that, and communicate and express, I'm so sorry, I need to disconnect from this conversation. Can we please talk about something else? Or like, I think I need to like walk away or something. That was really intense for me. Instead of speaking from a place of reaction, which is, how dare you bring that up? And blah, 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 like getting explosive. Okay. There's a difference between being in an emotional, mature place of responding versus being in an explosive state of reacting. Okay. And a lot of us grew up with explosive reacting parents who had zero emotional maturity, zero emotional intelligence. And so anyway, yeah, let's get back to the balancing. So step number 2 is balancing your feminine and masculine energies to maintain your spiritual hygiene as well as your chakras, right? I'm going to teach you guys how to clear and balance your chakras both on the front and the back end, as well as the auxiliary chakras. Yeah, it's going to be epic. I'm going to teach you guys how to do that and why it's so important to maintain that spiritual hygiene, because here's the thing is my goal. Now, this is a really ambitious goal. I want to get to a place in my life where I'm not triggered by anything. Like I just live in an absolute state of peace. I believe it's possible to do that in this lifetime for sure. It's gonna take a lot of work to get there. But yeah, that is like one of my biggest desires is to live a life where nothing scares me. Like I don't want to say scares me, but uh nothing intimidates me, and I'm just like so unbothered because it's like nowhere in my energy to be found because I've already healed and released it. Like I embody so much of my natural soul frequency, my authenticity, my inner child, my healed inner child, as healed as it's going to get right in this lifetime. So pure primary life force energy, more of that in my essence and my energy in my body. Like what a place to be in on a day-to-day basis. And so, yeah, that is the first two things. Let me just quickly recap to maintain your spiritual hygiene, which is clearing your energy, balancing your feminine and masculine energies within, as well as your chakras. Um, yeah, this is a good stopping point. So I'm going to cut the conversation here today. And like I said, I'm going to make my next video covering the other 4 points. I'm going to be really honest, it might turn into 2 videos. So, anyways, I love you guys so, so much. And is there anything I want to announce? Oh, yeah. Be sure to check out my website, go download the free ebook, start developing a healthy relationship with your emotions and developing that emotional intelligence to improve your relationship with yourself and with a future partner, as well as signing up for my free Oracle Cast newsletter. Get your energetic updates and some guidance on how to navigate the weak energies. That way you're not just like flailing around, and maybe I might validate something that's going on in your life for you. And you're like, oh my gosh, like Grayson is going through this too. Like, okay, like that's comforting, you know what I mean? And so you're not alone in this journey, and I'm here to support you, to guide you, and to teach you and to educate you. So yeah, anything else? Oh yeah, and if you are new to this channel, if you become a free member on my website starting today, up until December 31st, okay, create your free member login on my website. I will send you a coupon code for the Enlighten Your Minds program. It is my beginner's program for those of you who are starting out with getting into spirituality, the inner work phase. Um, you know, it's really just a playground for souls to explore, to experiment, and to start living in a more aligned reality that is going to take them to their highest self versions. And so, yeah, it's incredible. It's an amazing beginner, gentle program, and you get one-on-one support with me. You can always email me or text me with any questions that you have. Maybe not text me because that might get overwhelming. So, but send me an email of any questions you may have. We can jump on like a Zoom call or something. And I can like tune into your energy, maybe help you with something if that resonates. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna cut it here, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.